Hi, I'm Jilly G. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you my gluten-free sloppy joes and french fries and fry sauce. Here in Utah we have something called fry sauce. It's really simple but so delicious. One of my favorite condiments by far. We'll get to that in a few minutes. The first thing I'm going to do is cut up my vegetables for my sloppy joe mix. Over here I've got a frying pan and I've got about a pound of ground beef. It's actually still kind of frozen, even though I took it out of the freezer last night, so it's okay to just sit here till I'm ready for it. Hopefully it will be thawed the rest of the way by the time I go to cook it. And if not, it's okay. I'm sure that's happened to everyone at some point or another, where you take out your ground beef and it isn't thawed all the way. It happens. For my sloppy joes, I always make my own sauce. I know there's popular brands that come in a can, but I've always just thrown things together and made it my own. All of the things that I like, the spices that I like, it's really so simple and easy to make. And then I've got an onion here, I've got some garlic, red pepper, zucchini, carrots, and celery. And then of course potatoes that will go for the french fries. And these will be oven french fries. I don't really like to deep fry my french fries very often. I do love to eat them that way, but it's kind of messy and more time consuming. And for me, they turn out just as delicious in the oven as they would if you fry them. And they're a little bit healthier for you. Traditionally, sloppy joes don't have a lot of vegetables in them. To me, it's a really good way of getting in some extra vegetables. And of course, if I'm serving another vegetable on the side, like broccoli or something like that, I wouldn't add as many vegetables in with the sloppy joe mix. And that's actually not true. One time I made my sloppy joes and my husband said, "Why do we have to have vegetable soup on a bun? Why can't we just have meat?" That is a traditional sloppy joe. I really prefer to get in as many vegetables anywhere that I can. And I'm going pretty fine chop on my onion here. And then I just have a plate over here. I won't throw it all in the pan at the same time. So I like to put all of my ingredients on this plate and then I can add them in when they need to go in. Although something like this, it really doesn't matter. They're all going to cook in the same pot with the ground beef anyways. I do like to simmer it for a little bit just to get the flavors together. And sometimes things like this are even better the next day as leftovers. And then I've got some really big garlic cloves here. And I want to finely chop my garlic cloves as well. This is also one of those recipes you could add in whatever your favorite vegetables are. Most of the time I just use what I've got on hand. Sometimes I'll add in mushrooms, sometimes green beans, although I would cut those up pretty small, peas and corn. And it doesn't even have to be a red pepper. You could put in a green pepper, yellow pepper, whatever color you like. And I'm just going to put my garlic back in this little dish. I'm going to start out, that's kind of a really big pepper. I'm going to start out with this much, finely chop it and see how much I've got. And when I'm cutting up vegetables to go in my sloppy joes, I really like them to be finely chopped for a couple of different reasons. For one, so they cook faster and they all kind of cook at the same rate. But also, this is something that you'll be putting on a bun or even a piece of bread. And so I like it to all kind of stay on the bun or the piece of bread and then it's not spilling all over the place. But that's just me. And I'm going about the same size pieces as my onions are. This is also something that you could put all of these ingredients in a food processor, chop them really fine, and then just cook your ground beef and add that in. That would make really fast, easy work of this, and then it wouldn't be as chunky. But I actually kind of like it a little bit chunky. One of the other reasons I like to add in as many vegetables as I can to a meal like this is it really stretches it a lot further. Especially nowadays, this is something that I've always done, partly because I really like to get extra vegetables, and also if you have to feed a lot of people, adding in a lot of extra vegetables really makes this meal go a lot further. And I don't know about you, but right now grocery prices are just getting higher and higher. So if I can make a meal stretch even further, it saves money. I might even go a little bit more red pepper. Maybe not that much. Maybe about half of that. And while I'm cutting up all of my vegetables, I just want to say thank you guys so much. You guys always have such nice things to say in the comments. I can't say thank you enough. And of course, you guys are always watching my videos, telling me your stories, sharing your experiences with me, sharing your recipes with me. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to start out with about half of this zucchini. I would like to say that this zucchini was from my garden, but it's not. It's been such a hot summer, my garden is struggling. It isn't dead, but it's struggling. And even if you have somebody in your house that doesn't like zucchini, throwing it in a recipe like this, you will never know it's in there. Same thing with the celery, fairly smallish pieces. And as for the carrots, I go in pretty small pieces just so they cook along with everything else. And while I'm saying thank yous, I've recently got some new people coming over. I'm so glad to have you here. And as always, such a big thank you to my patrons. And I guess I should probably mention, maybe you don't know what a sloppy joe is. So what a sloppy joe is it's a ground beef, some kind of sauce, like a tomato sauce, barbecue sauce, which I've got both of here actually, spices and seasonings, usually an onion and garlic. Of course, I'm doing other vegetables. And you cook that mixture till it's really nice and cooked, and then you serve it warm on a bun. Kind of like a sloppy sandwich is why it's called a sloppy joe. There we go. All of my vegetables are ready. I'm not quite ready to cut up my potatoes yet. The nice thing about this recipe is this does take a little bit to simmer, just to get all of the vegetables cooked. You could even omit all of the fresh vegetables and just throw in some frozen vegetables, and this would come together even faster. But I do like for my sloppy joe meat mixture to simmer. That way all of the flavors really get together. And the nice thing about doing French fries with something like that is while that is simmering, you can get your French fries cut up and thrown in the oven. And then for my spices and seasonings, I've got a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. I've got 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. I can never say that word, but I'm sure you get my drift. I've got 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. I've got 2 tablespoons of barbecue sauce. This is whatever you like. Use your favorite barbecue sauce. If you like a spicy barbecue sauce, you could do that. You could even throw in a jalapeno in this and make it a spicy sloppy joe. Or maybe you don't like barbecue sauce. Just put in some ketchup. Or you could leave it out altogether because this is a tomato sauce based recipe. And then in this bowl, I've got 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of dry mustard, and 1 teaspoon of thyme. But use your favorite spices. If you've got something else that you really like to go in this, use that. These are just my favorite spices that I like to go in my sloppy joes. So I'm going to turn my burner on about medium. And then once this starts heating up and splattering, I do have a splatter guard. You could also use a lid, whatever, or nothing at all. You could also do this in a really large batch in a stock pot and make a whole bunch of this meat mixture and put some of it in the freezer. That is such a handy thing to do. Then you have your meat mixture already cooked and ready to go in the freezer for a really fast, easy weeknight dinner. And then I usually add a little bit of water. Once I dump in my tomato sauce, I'll rinse the can with about half of a can of water and dump that in just to help soften up my vegetables. And then you really get all of the tomato sauce in the can. And once your ground beef is almost all the way cooked through and pretty crumbled apart like this, I'm going to add in all of my vegetables at once. You could add them in all separately and saute them a little bit, but it's just as easy to throw them all in at the same time, even the garlic. And I'm not concerned that the garlic will burn because there's so many other things in the pan. And now for my spices, and these are to taste. Maybe you don't like dry mustard. You could even use your favorite prepared mustard. And now for my can of tomato sauce, Worcestershire sauce, maple syrup, my barbecue sauce, and give everything a really good stir. Make sure all of those spices are mixed around, and then we'll let this simmer. And then the little bit of water that I'm rinsing the can of tomato sauce with. I'm going to turn the heat down to low so this will simmer. I didn't use all of the water that I had put in the can. I only did about halfway full. But I'm saving this little bit of extra water just in case this gets too thick. Then I will have a little bit of extra water if my vegetables aren't super soft and this is too thick. There goes my splatter guard. And now I can get started on my potatoes. So for my potatoes, I've got 4 just regular potatoes, salt and pepper, some olive oil. This little whisk will be for my fry sauce, and then just a cookie sheet. Depending on how long you want this to cook for and depending on how crispy you like your potatoes will determine when to turn on your oven. I actually have a setting on my oven that's called a quick bake. It's not necessarily faster. Well, it is. It does go faster, but it turns the fan on. So it's a fan-assisted temperature. And I really like using that setting for French fries because they do get crispy, but they do cook a lot faster. So I'm not going to turn the oven on and preheat it just yet. And because I don't want my potatoes to turn brown before I'm ready to throw them in the oven, I'll get my fry sauce together first. It's really so simple. It is mayonnaise and ketchup. And you just mix them together and then you dip your fries in them. I actually like to add in a little bit of barbecue sauce to my fry sauce. Nothing fancy at all, but one of my favorite condiments for sure. And the amounts that I like to use is about a half a cup of mayonnaise, about a 1/3 cup of ketchup, and then 2 tablespoons or so of barbecue sauce. And maybe where you live, you have a different kind of condiment that you like to dip your fries into. But I also like to eat this sauce on hamburgers. Nothing to it at all. Periodically stir your sloppy joe mixture, and it's already getting thicker. And there is a way that you can get your potatoes ready ahead of time, is to cut them up in as big of slices as you'd like and put them in a bowl of cold water. And then just let them sit there till you're ready. You could even do that the day before, and then they don't turn brown. And I like to leave the skins on my potatoes. And I try to cut them in French fry shapes. Nowadays they have so many kitchen gadgets that will do this job for you. but a knife works just as well. But you want them to roughly be the same size so they all cook at the same rate. And then of course cut off any bad spots that you might find. And I haven't preheated my oven. And on my setting that uses the fan, I usually go about 375. If you don't have a fan option on your oven, you could go as high as 400, maybe 425. Been a long time since Karma's been in the kitchen with me. So then what I usually look for is how many potatoes I can fit in a single layer on a cookie sheet so they have room to get crispy on all sides. If you put them too close together, they won't be as crispy and they'll be kind of soggy. And then once you've got them there, I kind of put them all back in the middle. And then just however much olive oil that you like, maybe a tablespoon or two, whatever. And then just with hands, I toss them around. Make sure they're all evenly coated with this olive oil. Of course, you could use whatever oil you like. And then once they're all coated, I get them all spread out in an even layer. And then wash your hands. And then I've got some salt and pepper. We'll just sprinkle a little bit on however much you like. Again, this is to taste. You could even use a seasoned salt, whatever you like. And you can see how thick this is getting. I am going to add in the rest of the water that is in my can of tomato sauce. I said you could hide vegetables in this mixture. You can't. You can see them all in here. But when you eat it, you don't really notice. And maybe that's a lie too. I love it with all of the vegetables in there. Maybe you wouldn't. And you could do the exact same thing with just the ground beef and onion and garlic if you want to. It would be a lot more saucy, but you could also do 2 pounds of ground beef if you wanted more meat. But this is the way that I like it. And my fries are not ready yet. About halfway through the cook time, I like to flip my fries over. Or at least stir them around a little bit. Be careful, they are hot. And these are coming along nicely. So we'll go back into the oven for about 15 to 20 more minutes. While everything is finishing up, I'll get my bun ready. And if you've seen my recent video, my 4th of July collaboration video with my turkey cranberry sandwiches, these are the same buns from that video. They work so well for a sloppy Joe bun. But if you made this recipe and put them in a muffin pan, then you could have 2 little ones, or if you like a lighter dinner, just have 1. And you have the same sandwich, it's just a smaller amount. But this is the size that we're doing today. I like my bun to be a little bit toasted. So in about 10 minutes, when my fries are almost done, I'll throw this in the oven with the French fries and get my bun toasted. Now that my fries are almost done, I'm turning off the meat. And I did flip over my bun just to get it pretty toasty on all sides. But my French fries are looking really crispy and delicious. Just give ourselves a few French fries there. And you can see how nice and thick my meat mixture is. It will get kind of messy. You could serve this just as an open-faced sandwich, just like this. But I'm going to put the top on mine. And then here's our fry sauce. Let me give myself some room, move things out of the way. Okay, let's give it a bite. Try my French fries and fry sauce first. I already know I'm gonna like them. Perfect. Oven French fries are just as delicious as deep fried French fries. Now for our sandwich that will be very messy and hot. Be careful. There's a reason it's called the Sloppy Joe. It's kind of a hot dinner for a hot summer day, but you would eat a hamburger. This is very similar to a hamburger and French fries. So delicious any time of year. And I always say it, but I love recipes like this where you can change it every single time. You could put different vegetables. You could make it really spicy with some jalapenos. Use whatever kind of sauce you like. Even if you don't like tomato sauce and the other seasonings that I put in, you could make this meat mixture with all barbecue sauce. That would be really delicious. It's so versatile for whatever flavors you like to be in there. And if you haven't tried these buns yet, they really are so perfect for something like this. A regular hamburger, a sandwich. They work out so great. And as you can see, they really hold up, even with something that is a soggy filling like a Sloppy Joe mixture. French fries are French fries, nothing fancy. But the fry sauce, if you've never tried it before, I encourage you to try it. It's something that is famous here in Utah, one of my favorite condiments by far, and really so simple and easy to make. In fact, in the grocery stores here in Utah, you can buy fry sauce in a bottle. I never do because I always have the ingredients to just make it myself. And it's cheaper, so that saves some money. And again, adding in so many vegetables will help 1 pound of ground beef stretch a lot further. And texturally, you don't really notice, but the vegetables do add so much extra flavor, and you can't go wrong with getting in extra vegetables with your dinner. Let me know what you think if you make this recipe. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any questions or comments, let me know, and I'll see you on the next one.